Hello, Laura Leger here. I write contemporary romance with a Cajun flair, and I'll be reading to you from Sarah Smile. It is book 2 of my Halos and Horns series, my second series, and I'm recording this exclusively for Chapter 1 Live. Enjoy. Sarah pushed past the restaurant door, out into the midday mist and drizzle of the late winter's day. Though spring was just around the corner, the unusually cooler temps weren't quite ready to surrender to this area of southwest Louisiana. She pulled her sweater tightly around her, staring out at the dampened parking lot as she waited for Annie to join her. In seconds, she heard the door opening. God, Annie, do you think this rain will ever end? It's supposed to clear up and get warmer by tomorrow, I hear. She spun around at the familiar, sexy sound of Tanner Collins' voice. Shocked speechless, she pressed her hand to her abdomen, her stomach churning with butterflies at the sight of the man. She stared stupidly up at him, unable to come up with a single comment to start a conversation. Thankfully, Tanner wasn't as dumbstruck. "How've you been, Sarah? Are the twins well?" "Fine, I've been fine, and so are the girls." "Good, I bet they've grown a lot since I've seen them last." "They're growing so fast, trying to crawl, Tanner. It won't be long before they'll be getting into everything." She laughed nervously as he smiled. "Is that a new girlfriend you were with? I mean, how've you been?" She snapped her mouth shut, wishing she could turn into one of those roly-poly pill bugs. That way she could close herself up and roll on out of this conversation. "God, that was rude of me. I'm so sorry." He laughed and shook his head. "Not a girlfriend. She's just an old acquaintance. I've been okay. Busy at the hospital, of course." "Of course! Working medical miracles and saving lives." She fidgeted and pushed her forever escaping lock of hair behind her ear. She then glanced up as Tanner's acquaintance stepped through the doorway. Perfectly arranged, and not a hair out of place, of course. The woman, obviously a master at multitasking, took no longer than 2 seconds to latch onto Tanner's arm, thereby establishing possession. Her one critical glance in Sarah's direction instantly judged her comparably dowdy presence, deemed her an unworthy opponent, and cast her aside without a second thought. It was a subtle, yet totally effective attack on Sarah's already lacking self-esteem. Tanner gently detached the woman's claws from his arm so he could place a hand on the small of her back. "Yvette, I'd like you to meet a friend of mine. This is Tanner, love. I really don't have time for introductions. I told you. I'm in a rush. I'm also meeting with my designer, and Coco waits for no one. Ciao, darling." Yvette locked her lips into Tanner's while running her perfectly manicured nails softly over his crotch area. He pushed at her hand and turned away, trying to escape the kiss. Sarah averted her gaze, embarrassed at the woman's blatant attempt to claim her territory. Tanner cleared his throat, obviously annoyed. "Wouldn't want you to be late to that meeting, Yvette. I'll be here, catching up with Sarah, a friend, a nice friend." Once she'd gained some distance, he added, "Not that you'd recognize nice if it knocked you on your skinny little ass." Sarah waited until he'd faced her to speak. "Lovely girl, Tanner. Such nice manners." "I'm sorry about that." He gave his head a shake. "She's always been a spiteful bitch, but it's never bothered me." "Until now?" His gaze settled on her and he smiled. Not one of those half smiles of convenience to throw people off. The kind she'd perfected living with an abusive ex-husband, but one that allowed the sparkle to reach his gorgeous blue eyes. "Forget her," he said. "Seriously, I don't doubt that the girls are thriving under your care, but how have you been, Sarah? No after effects from everything you went through? No bad dreams to haunt you?" She gave him a casual shrug. "Comes with the territory, I guess. My shrink assures me it'll go away with some time." "I'm sure it will. You're surrounded by good people." She met his kind gaze. "Well, you seem like good people too, Tanner." Laughter rumbled deep in his chest. "Not quite, but I'm trying to be." Sarah stared off into the direction of Yvette, pulling out with her BMW from the parking space like she was being chased by the devil himself, with no heed to any other vehicle around her. She faced Tanner again. "You know, you could start by surrounding yourself with nicer people." He stared down at her, his intense blue-eyed gaze never wavering. "You know, I was just thinking the same thing myself." And that's it. I thank you, and click on the link below to see more and hear more. Thank you. Goodbye.